Right, so y'all tell me to go to the cops, but who is it that's been the most useful? Well, who got my evidence back in Tacoma? My computer and electronics. Drug addicts, not the police. Who's been taking care of me? Primarily folks who work at Starbucks, places like that, where they have a safe place policy, where even if you're weird, strange, odd, warped, or different, as long as you're not being mean, you have a safe place if necessary. Now, there's a few places I know not to tread, and why. I also know the things that I've said, and even though there's a few things that I may not remember every single moment of every single day, I'm sure I've said some mean things because I can remember mean things I said today. Anyway, the folks at Safeway, some of them took a look at some evidence over at the library of a bit of how this started. I also got to send a bunch of links to the videos that he turned in so that everybody's aware of them. There's a lot more, though. See, it's one thing when you tell somebody a tall tale. It's another when the tall tale is absolutely realistic. And then it's entirely different from that when you look at the evidence, realize, yeah, dude's telling the truth. Once people start looking at the evidence, yeah, it's pretty obvious why I have to keep on going. There's a lady who has spent a lot of time helping me in ways that do absolutely help. And then there's, choices of all of ours in life that happens. And thank goodness the folks here, even though I fucking scream and shout and hoot and holler, there's important things to remember. The people who are good to me, I'm good to them. But until you've seen it, you don't know what anyone's going through. Everyone is prone to being lied to, so it's best to check your information. And the internet is not a viable source. Unfortunately, neither are the police. Neither is the media. Now, nearly all these folks who weren't able to keep their words for whatever reason, sickness, threats against their lives from the Bollingers or their followers, whatever the reason may be, I gave those people the honest expectation of the truth. If you're telling the truth, show the evidence. Everyone gets angry when you ask them to show the evidence, don't they? What about me, who's been showing it for years? And I just get frustrated because I have to keep on going back and reposting and reposting and reposting for people who claim they care but just haven't seen anything yet. Once I start showing them, they go, oh my God, wow, dude, wow. Anyway, we went up the mountains. We cleaned up part of the camp that I had, thank goodness. We got some of the important stuff down, but I couldn't find one of the evidence bags. I gave them the ability to get my computers and a lot of my paper evidence and all of that in case something happens to me. So if somebody shoots me, stabs me, poisons me, or imprisons me, hopefully we got something going on that helped to save lives. And hopefully the folks who have seen it already understand that the evidence is really important enough that it's worth the rest of my life in prison. I'm just not willing to kill somebody. And so many people have presented that as an option. But you know what? Instead of that today, I got manual labor out of a whole bunch of people that have their own abilities and disabilities, their own physical strengths or physical weaknesses. They're all different. And they all understood, at least to a fairly decent degree, that my disabilities are fucking me up. And also, they've seen enough of the things with Wolnez to understand this is very real. They've also seen enough of the evidence that I've got that shows that, well, the narrative sold about me is bullshit. There's a lot of people who have gotten to see that. But you know what? I also tell them that I'm an asshole, and I tell them why. I keep trying to give police the benefit of the doubt because it's difficult to get people to understand, it's an emergency and how urgent it really is. And many of the things that we did today were absolutely necessary. We made it kind of a hangout thing, and that's kind of the way that it has to be when it's more than one-on-one, because I'll get overwhelmed talking about serious stuff, and everybody's got opinions, and a lot of times when you're being victimized, you need it to not be a bunch of opinions, but focusing on the facts. The folks who helped me today, before this dies, hopefully, I am eternally grateful for. I mean, they've got the ability to get my paper stuff. They've got the ability to grab my computers, and hopefully we'll get something going here. A lot of these people out here on the streets, they're on drugs. Hopefully we can get them the help that they need, but there's a lot of important things out here that we're not dealing with. We're not dealing with people like me who are overwhelmed, and then we're victimized for being overwhelmed. And we're overwhelmed from being abused and taken advantage of and blown off and dismissed. A lot of people, once they take a look at the evidence I've got, it's pretty clear. It's a good thing to listen to me. It's important to listen to me. I am honest. When I am extremely overwhelmed, my words are not going to come together perfectly and correctly all the time. And I absolutely don't hate these people. I hate the situation. I hate some of the decisions that they've made. I hate some of the decisions I've made too. Rather than begging Natalie Bollinger and Maddie Boa and Alicia Bollinger to stop, to help stop the abuse, I should have just ended my existence. There are certain things that you don't say about a person. But once they're said, if they're not true, you need to come forward about it. And if you got too much pride to admit that you screwed up, like the Bollingers, life just ain't worth it. Now, the folks who helped me at the Safeway today, helped me get some of my stuff up in the mountains, are starting to understand. Hopefully they'll be able to get the evidence safe where it needs to go and understand how important that really is. My evidence isn't about me. It's about all of the other victims. I fought hard to try to get their voices heard. And I'm sorry I was unsuccessful. I'm sorry that without you, I couldn't stop the abuse against you. Just like without you, I couldn't stop the abuse against me. I always went with the belief and understanding that people know their situation better than I do. So when they ask for help them how they need. The chances of me being victimized tonight are pretty good. But I'm thankful for all the people at Safeway. Even though they couldn't keep me safe, they keep me safe long enough. More importantly, they are helping to keep my evidence safe. And that could help protect a lot of people. If you're going to lock somebody away, lock away the right kind of people.